Julie Engelman, and we are going to interview him for posterity's sake. And this is the questions we're using. It's Grandpa's story. He's not my grandpa, but we're going to ask Shrap questions about his childhood and get a little information. Grandpa, where were you born?
Newport, Kentucky, Ann Street.
Mm-hmm. Were you born in the house?
In the house.
Oh, okay. Well, was that a long time ago?
Oh, approximately 66 years ago, 1926. May the 1st, 1926.
How big were you?
I was kind of a tiny baby when I was born. I only weighed 12 pounds.
Okay, wait a minute. How much did you weigh?
12 pounds.
12 pounds? Poor mother.
He was a tiny. So what happened to Aunt Gussie?
My aunt, when she saw me, she was a nurse, and actually she was my mother's aunt. And when she saw me, she fainted.
Aunt Gussie.
Aunt Gussie fainted. You hear that, folks? Okay, and what was your whole name?
Joseph Henry John Engelman.
John is your confirmation name.
Right.
Okay. And who did they name you after?
Can I have some of that soup jello?
My uncle, my mother's uncle, Joe Hunter.
Okay, you were named after him?
Right.
And where did Henry come in?
Henry was my mother's
Down in the
father's name.
basement.
Henry.
Okay, Henry was
My grandpa's name.
your grandpa's name. Grandpa Hunter?
Right.
Okay.
Henry Hunter.
When did you walk and talk? Do you remember?
No.
Did you ever hear?
No.
Okay. Any other facts about your birth?
Nothing exciting. I
Nothing special?
don't remember.
Okay. Did you have a baby nickname?
Well, a babe, I think. Or
Joe Bump.
Joe Bump. Oh,
Joe
some-
Bump.
Shinderhannes.
What does that mean? Okay, why did they call you that?
Because I was such a good boy.
Oh, I'm sure. Who did they say you looked like?
My mother, actually.
Okay. Who were your grandma and grandpa, your maternal grandparents? Who was your maternal grandfather?
Henry Hunter.
And where was he born?
I don't have any idea.
Okay. And you mean like New York, Covington, you don't
I
know?
imagine Newport.
Newport,
I'm
okay.
just, I don't know. Or
when-
Dayton, really, I imagine.
Dayton, okay. Probably Dayton.
Dayton, Kentucky.
Okay. And your maternal grandmother was
I don't know what her name was.
okay.
You?
Grandpa's mother?
We had a gal.
Okay. And we can fill that in later. And then your paternal grandfather was whom?
John Engelman.
John Engelman. Oh. And where was he born? Any idea?
Nope.
Okay. And your paternal grandmother was?
Frederica.
Frederica? Oh, darn.
Schwer, I think her maiden
Schwer?
name. Schwer, I think her maiden name was.
Frederica, I can't spell. Were you the youngest?
Yes.
And who were your brothers and sisters?
Well, my oldest brother was Walt, and then Edith was the next in line, and then Dorothy, and then Howard.
Okay. And your mother was whom?
Mary Engelman. Her maiden name was Honert.
And your father?
Oscar John Engelman.
And where was Grandma born? Where was Mary Engelman born?
Dayton, I imagine.
Probably Dayton.
Kentucky.
And
Yeah.
what about Oscar?
Newport.
Newport? Okay. Newport. See, there's more. Grandpa, did you ever get whippings?
I probably got smacked a couple of times, but
What for?
maybe smoking or. uh,
Okay. Could you roller skate
yes,
and ice skate?
yes. I broke my ankle.
Oh, you broke your ankle ice skating.
Right.
Well, sort of.
Cracking the whip, you know.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And where did you go roller skating and ice skating?
On 12th Street, Newport, we roller skated. It was one of the first streets around that had asphalt,
Oh,
and all the kids would roller skate on our street.
really? Okay. And where'd you go ice skating?
Not prisoners, but what's next? The name of the lake in Ludlow?
Lagoon?
The Lagoon, yeah.
Oh, the lagoon in Ludlow.
Right.
And
Also, roller skating. They had a skating rink at the school where I went, Corpus Christi School in Newport,
Corpus
and
Christi.
they had a skating rink there, and we would roller skate from there.
Neat. What kind of games did you play?
Games. Well, we played ball and dinky and.
Wait. Tell me what dinky is. How do you play dinky?
Well, dinky is a piece of wood about 3/4 of an inch square, about 4 inches long, with a taper on both ends,
It's a diamond.
and it had numbers on each side, like a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. And you would have a circle, and you would take this dinky and you would throw it in this circle, and whatever number came up, like if 4 came up, you got to hit the dinky 4 times. You had a paddle similar like they have for that ball, what the heck you
Ping
call it?
pong?
A
Oh,
rubber
with a
ball.
ball attached to a
Yeah,
rubber band,
yeah.
kind of? Okay.
So you'd hit the end of the tape, the dinky, and it'd fly up in the air, and then you'd hit it with a paddle.
Oh.
So then they would have to take and throw the dinky back at the circle, and you would measure with the paddle how far away they missed, you know, and the one whoever got the closest one, you know, you'd take turns.
Oh, I never knew that. This is great.
And
Okay.
we would play games like Prisoner's Base. I don't know if you ever.
Prisoner's base? Is
Yeah.
that like tag or something?
Well, we used to go across the street and there'd be poles, and you'd have to try and get I don't know exactly how that worked anymore, but you'd have to go around the pole, try and get it without them tagging you, you know.
Around a pole?
Yeah. And also the fact that my dad worked for the railroad, he used to bring big sticks of chalk home.
Mommy.
And we would take, like they'd play hopscotch, and we'd play mummy peg with pocket
What's-
knives.
What? Oh, you gotta throw. How do you do that? Mummy
Well,
peg?
it's kind
Too
of,
long to.
yeah.
Okay.
You'd flip it up in the air, and
A
then
knife.
it'd have to stick in the ground. And you'd flip it up with your hand this way, and then from the back of your hand, and then you would take it from your arm and your elbow and your shoulder, all kinds of
Oh man, you guys played complicated games, huh?
yeah, your
Did
fingers.
you have to dig it out of the dirt with your teeth?
The
Yeah.
peg.
The peg.
Whoever lost.
Oh really?
Yeah.
If you missed it, it didn't stick in the ground.
Well, did you have a tooth fairy?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
He still got all his teeth.
What kind of birthday parties did you have?
To my knowledge, until I got married, I never.
Well, well, how did you celebrate your birthday?
Uh-oh, the
Oh.
camera's knocked out of whack.
I don't think she did it. Or she did.
It's still rolling.
Just off focus.
What was the
Smile,
question?
what kind of, how did you celebrate your birthday?
Well, my mother would bake a cake, and we would. I guess we did get presents. I mean, I don't remember, you know.
Yeah, right. That wasn't. And what were your favorite toys?
Well, one of the favorite toys was when I was a little kid. Walt bought Pinky and I a metal truck, and it had lights on it. Worked off of
That
a
really
battery,
lit?
and we like that. We used to take and play. We would make roads, dig roads in the dirt, you know, and play with trucks and cars and things of that nature.
Did you have a bicycle? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, when I was about maybe 12 years old or so, I think Mom and Dad bought Pinky and I a bicycle between us.
Oh, okay.
And we one of the things we used to do on my bicycles, we used to have marathons. We would take and ride around, keep riding around the block, and one guy, same bicycle, you know, you'd jump off and another guy would jump on, and even during lunchtime we would try and see how long we could ride the bicycle, you know.
Like one to go eat lunch and the other.
Yeah. And so.
Did you get to? When did you have a television?
I don't know exactly, but I imagine it was maybe when I was 21 or 22 years old. I mean, my mom and dad, they had one, a black and white television set.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to stay up and watch television or listen to the radio?
Oh, the radio. We used to listen to the radio when I was a kid. We would listen to the radio all the time. They had all of these fabulous programs on their radio, like Amos and Andy and Mom and Abner and Gangbusters and The Lone Ranger and Fibber McGee and Molly and so.
Did they let you stay up late sometimes to watch?
Nah, we didn't stay up too late. We would, I don't know exactly when we'd go to bed, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. One of the reasons also was the fact that my dad had to get up early to go to work. And so he'd go to bed early, and so.
Did you have your own pet?
Yes, when I was a little kid, we used to have 9 cats. They weren't allowed in the house, but there was 3 neighbors that more or less, these cats just roamed, and one cat in particular, I used to sit in my chair and he would come and climb up on my lap and go to sleep, you know.
Oh.
But
what was his name?
I don't know.
You didn't have a name for him. What color was he?
Black and
Remember?
white.
Black
yeah.
and white.
Yeah.
Did the girls ever tease you?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you ever run away or hide?
No.
Okay. Who was your best friend?
My best friend.
Big?
Yes, you're the best.
Sit down, little man.
This, I would say that this one boy that I played more with him than anybody was Walt Dausenberg, was his name.
With
But
a
what
D?
was his nickname?
Boy.
Tom Kiss?
Tom Kish.
Dausenberg with a D?
Yeah, D-A-U-Z.
Is it S maybe?
I think.
Okay.
I'm not-
Did you have secrets?
Oh yeah, I made, but I'm not telling you.
Okay. Were there trains and cars?
You mean real trains and cars? Yeah, yeah. Cars were kind of few and far between, but the fact that we lived on the street, the railroad tracks were just above, within, shouting distance of our house. And we used to wave at the conductor, and trying to get him to pull a whistle, And sometime we would sit and count the cars, for pastime, how many cars was on a train. And then we used to play another game. We would, I don't remember, it was about cars, the kinds of cars that went by or something.
Well, did you ride streetcars
Oh, definitely, yeah. Streetcars.
and buses? Any
Buses.
buses?
Right.
Did you have ice cream?
Yes. In fact, we would make our own ice cream. We, like on Sunday, Mom would take and make up whatever the mix was, and then we would all take turns cranking the ice cream maker,
What could you buy for a penny?
Oh, all kinds of candy,
And a
Mary
nickel?
Janes and caramels, and up the street from us, this grocery store, they had like a punch thing, and you would punch out, and maybe you get 4 pieces of candy or 3, and for a penny, it was kind of neat.
What could you buy for a nickel?
For a nickel? Well, you could buy a big candy bar for a nickel. Mr. Good bars and Butterfingers and Hershey bars and
Ice cream cones.
ice cream, 3-dip ice cream cone.
Soda.
Ice balls. We used to, in fact, they would have ice balls. They had 2 kinds. They had one for 3 cents. That didn't have any ice cream in it, but if for a nickel you could take and get an ice ball with a dip of ice cream on it.
Inside of it?
Yeah, it was sort of inside of it.
Like
Yeah.
saying this.
Yeah.
Did you go swimming?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, they had a pool at 11th and Brighton Street in Newport. It was like a little park there, and like a wading pool, and we used to go down there. And then when I got older, we would ride our bikes up to Tacoma Park in Dayton, Kentucky. And I don't know how much it cost to go swimming or that up there, but we would go swimming up there.
Did you ever have stitches or broken bones?
Yes.
I'm so confused. This is one of his grandchildren.
We don't play.
Hey, Thomas,
What?
get back next to your mom and look up in the camera. Now go like this.
Hey Thomas, now I'm asking Grandpa if he ever had stitches or broken bones. Let's listen to this part.
When I was a little kid, there was a garage next door to our house, and I rode my bike into this garage where they fixed cars, and I had my mother. We would have to change our clothes in the evening, take our dirty clothes off, and get it washed and put on clean clothes. And I had a pair of white pants on, knickers. And I rode in this garage, and I put my foot down, and there was a puddle of oil, and I slipped and fell over on this old beat-up automobile fender and cut the back,
You're behind.
my behind. So I had to get clamped. Well, instead of stitches, they had like clamps or that they
It's really me.
Boy, I'm glad.
And another time, we used to take in up the street from us. They had a lot that they stored these big
Yeah.
sewer pipes, about 4 feet in diameter or something like that.
Okay.
And I was running on them, and I went to jump from one pipe to another, and I missed, and I hit the edge of a pipe with my
Yeah,
leg here,
yeah.
and
Hurt.
it hurt, got infected, and they had to stuff medicated gauze or something down in it.
Well, is
To
he
get
gonna stay
it,
there too sometime?
Took a while to heal up,
I should say.
and then later on in life, when I was a little older, I was skating down at the lagoon, ice skating, and we were cracking the whip, and I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
And some of the, I had poison oak in my eyes. I had,
Okay, dear.
I spent 9 days in the hospital one time. I had a 106 fever or something like that. They couldn't get my fever down, but they never did find out what the problem was. So, other than that, I've
You were pretty healthy.
pretty healthy.
Sure.
We're gonna change recorders here. You can write some. I'm just jotting things down if I can. Don't worry about it if you can't. Excuse me, I'm just walking.
What kind of house did you grow up in?
You mean the structure itself? Well, we lived in when I was first born, they lived, I don't know how many rooms was in a house on Ann Street in Newport. Then we moved to 12th Street when I was 2 years old, and we lived in a 3-room house. My mom and dad and the 5 children, and there was no bathtub in there. We used to have to take a bath in the kitchen in a metal tub.
Did you have running water?
Yes, we had running water, but we never had a hot water tank. We'd have to heat water on the stove. And then we moved, I don't know how old I was when we moved to another house on 12th Street. And it had 4 rooms in it. And but it had a bathtub. And
What was the address there? Was it
330 West 12th Street in Newport. Yeah.
330.
The other house was 325 West 12th Street,
You had a bathtub.
almost right across the street from the other place.
Okay. Did you have a secret hiding place?
Secret hiding place? Not really.
In the house or out of the house?
A cellar or anything?
No, I never did ever.
Never did do anything you had to hide from?
Well, yeah, we did when we used to smoke. We used to go up the alley in there, and up the street there. There was like in back of this one house, and between this garage there was like a little spot that we used to take and smoke, and then we would also go in this George Schwarman's garage up there, and his grandpa had long green tobacco in there, and we used to take and get some of that tobacco and make cigarettes and
Pushed out.
yeah.
Okay, give me that ballpoint.
But,
Isn't that black one? That black ballpoint. Is that okay?
Yeah, you don't have, the main thing is to get it on the
Yeah.
thing, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you have a fireplace in your house?
In the one house that we lived in, we had a fireplace.
Which house?
The first house, one of
Ann Street?
325. No, 325 was called.
Oh,
They had, and then we also had a heat troller to heat with.
yeah. Did you have your own bedroom?
No,
Did
not,
Silly.
you have your own bathroom?
no.
Well, where did you sleep?
Well, Pinky and I slept, on a it was one of these couches that opened into a bed. And, so at night we would have to move the dining room table over. It was in the dining room, and then open up the couch, and that's where we slept.
Open up the couch and made a bed.
Right.
Okay. How did you keep your soda cold?
Soda.
Soda.
Well,
What you feel?
actually, I don't remember. We never did ever have that when we were kids, you know. We never ever had soda, but we had ice box. We used to have to go down to the dairy about, I don't know if it was every day or every other day, with a wagon and get a 10-cent piece of ice and bring it up home, and that's how we kept things.
Yeah, like milk and stuff.
Milk and meat and whatever you had.
What kind of lights did you have?
Lights.
Yeah.
We had
Electric?
electric lights, yeah.
You didn't ever have any kerosene lights?
Only during the flood in 1937.
Yeah.
We never had water, electricity, or anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 21 people living in 3 rooms then.
Did you have jobs to do around the house?
Oh yeah.
Specific chores?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like cutting the grass and
Get coal in?
get coal in. Yeah, we'd burn 9 ton of coal every year, and we'd have to put the coal in the basement. And
Did you have to clean up the clinkers and stuff?
yeah, well, more or less. I guess my dad used to do that.
How did you keep cool in the summertime?
Keep cool in the summertime. Well,
Or did you?
we didn't.
Did you go swimming?
Yeah, we'd go swimming when we could.
That was kind of a luxury though.
Right.
Did you have
We had a fan at one period. Yes.
a fan?
Yeah.
One fan?
Right.
Did you have an attic?
No.
Did you have a basement?
Yes.
Was it pretty much filled up with coal?
Well, the first at 325 Wall Street, the basement was a dirt basement, and we more or less used it strictly for coal, and the only time we would usually go down there is to get the coal.
Yeah. There's a furnace down there too.
There was no furnace.
Oh, it was the heat.
There was a heat troll in the fireplace, and we'd get a bucket of coal and bring it up.
Mm-hmm. Now, heat troll, is
But
that
yeah,
kind of what they call it, an insert now? Or was it just like a...
it was a stand-up stove, you know. It was sort of a square job. It wasn't anything like this.
It didn't go back in the fireplace?
No. It just sat in the middle of the floor and
Yeah.
with
The flue.
the, like Bernie's got down there in Petersburg, you know, something like that.
Who all lives with you?
Well, my mom and dad, and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Did the firemen or police ever come to your house?
I don't see where it's any of your filthy business.
Would you see the firemen or policemen
Yes, they
ever
did.
come to your house?
Yeah, I
don't
think.
see where it's in your building.
I had an uncle that was an alcoholic,
That
and
was.
Uncle Bud,
Yeah.
and I think him and my grandpa got in a fight one time, and I think the police came, and but that was
To talk to him or to bring
yeah,
him
to
home?
talk to him.
Okay. But you never did have a fire?
Nope.
Well, that's good.
got a little heated probably?
What was the first Christmas tree you remember like?
First Christmas tree.
Yeah, what was the first Christmas tree? You remember, what was it like?
Well, it was definitely a real tree, and one of the things I remember about it is they not in my time, but apparently these ornaments were older because they had candle grease on from when they used to take and put
Even
candle
ornaments that you used?
ornaments that my parents and them had. Yeah, had still had
Wow.
some, but yeah, we always had a nice Christmas tree, and they would put it up on Christmas Eve. They would take and make us go in the back room in the kitchen, and then Mom and Dad would decorate the tree, and then we would get our toys. They would allow us into the living room.
The next question here is, how did you hang your stockings?
We never did hang stockings.
Okay, and then it goes on to say, how did you decorate the tree? You didn't decorate it, your mom?
Not when I was younger, no.
Yeah. Did Santa give you what you asked for?
Sometimes he did, and sometimes he didn't.
Kind of hit and miss, huh?
Right.
Okay. Did you have snow to go sled riding?
Yes.
Did you have ice to go ice skating?
Yes.
I just feel like I want
And
to let
yes.
everybody know.
Did you go to your grandma's for Thanksgiving?
No, because I never did know any of my grandmas.
You stayed home?
They were both dead when I was a little kid.
Did you stay home or go to an aunt's?
Right.
or-
No, we always stayed home for Thanksgiving.
How did you trick or treat on Halloween?
Well, we would just do like they do nowadays. We would just take and get us a bag and
Go door to door?
go door to door and
What'd you call it?
Halloween.
Yeah, but what'd you call when you went baking?
Oh, Kickling, you mean?
Keegling?
Yeah.
Is it German?
Certain German. I don't know how you spell it or anything.
Yeah.
Probably K.
Put giggling.
Yeah. What? You know, like nowadays they dress up like
Yeah.
astronauts and all that stuff. Do you remember any specific
Oh, no.
trend?
We never did ever have any fancy costumes or anything else. We would just usually dress up like bums or
Yeah.
some kind of a
Yeah. Hobo.
simple, or a pair of coveralls or
Yeah.
something.
Ballerina or something.
Put on your tutu.
Yeah.
She's a Mark, she just called and said they probably.
What did you do on the 4th of July?
Joey or Mark's.
Well, on the 4th of July, that was a big day. We would buy fireworks, and during the year, my father, the fact that he worked for the road used to get these here red flares that they use for when there's danger of that, and we would usually have a whole mess of them, and we would take and put them out along the sidewalk out front, and we would also take and get carbide. I think it's
Yeah.
carbide. And you take a little bit of that and you wet it, and then you'd light it and you blow. We'd put under tin cans and it'd blow the tin can up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it was a big day. Huh?
a big day, yeah. 4th of July was a big day.
Mm-hmm. Did you send cards or candy to girls on Valentine's Day?
No, not in my younger days.
Can we hook you up to a lie detector test and ask that again?
And,
What were your family holiday traditions?
our holiday traditions.
Yeah. Celebrated Christmas. You know?
We celebrated all of
You
the
put the
New
tree up a
Year's.
certain day
Yeah.
or.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New
Yeah.
Year's,
Easter.
4th of July, Easter. Easter was another big day we would take, and Easter we would fast from eating candy during Lent. In other words, we wouldn't eat any candy, and we would more or less save it until Holy Saturday. That's the Saturday before Easter, and we were allowed to. This was voluntary. Well, you didn't have to.
But it was kind of a tradition.
Yeah.
What your kids do to her is just not
Uh,
fair.
Where did you go to school?
I think it was food.
Well, my grade school went to Corpus Christi.
Okay, how do you spell Corpus?
Corpus Christi.
Okay. You know, it's grade school, 1 through 8.
Right, right.
Okay. And then where'd you go to high school?
High school, I went 3 years to Newport Catholic, and my last year of high school, I went to East Night over in Cincinnati. It was at the Woodward's school, but they called it East Night.
You went there 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
To East Night. You went there so you could work during the day?
Right.
No.
Kind of handy. How did you get to school?
Well, in high school, I rode my bike to Newport Catholic when I went there.
Yeah.
And when I went my last year to East Night, I used to take and ride the bus over to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Did you like school? Grade school?
Grade school, yeah, I imagine I had a lot of fun in grade school.
Yeah.
And actually, in high school, I should have applied myself more than I did,
We all should have.
yeah.
What classes did you like, and were there any particular classes that you really stand out?
I used to like history and civics and I guess they were some of my
Math?
no, I wasn't that great at math. It wasn't one of my favorites. But
So what classes did you hate? Would math be one of them?
I think grade school. I think grammar was one that I hated
Yeah.
more than any of them. I don't know why, but was.
Okay. Were your report cards good? What was your best? report card?
Well, my report cards wasn't that good, no.
Fair?
Fair.
Okay. Did you go out for sports any?
Well, when I was a little kid, I played on a not whole league for Pompilio's as a pitcher. And in grade school, we also had just intramural basketball. Also at high school, we had intramural basketball. We didn't play any outside teams against.
And you played during high school?
Just not that, just intramural. I don't know how often we played, maybe, I don't know.
Were you given a lot of homework?
Not a whole lot, no. We weren't burdened with homework, no.
Were you a football fan?
No, not really.
Did you ever play hooky?
Nope.
I'll put no. So put question marks at it. Where did you go on vacation when you were a kid? Did you ever go anywhere?
Yes. When I was a kid, the fact that my dad worked for the railroad, he would get passes. And we went like to Columbus, Ohio, and we would go down to Natural Bridge, Kentucky, and we would go to High Bridge, Kentucky. The fact that my dad never did own a car or anything
Kind of handicapped you.
was sort of a handicap, but we also went to Fort Eustis, Virginia to visit my brother Walt when he was in the Army. And we went to Vancouver Barracks, I think it was, to visit my brother Pinky. I think it was Vancouver Proving Ground.
Vancouver. Okay. Did you go fishing or camping?
When I was older, yes. We used to go on vacation, camping, and
When you were older.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Stop this a second. Push the red.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take a break from Grandpa's story, and we're going to do Grandma's story for a while here. And this is Elizabeth Ann Engelman, previously Betty. And we'll just begin here. Grandma, were you born around here?
Yes. I was born at St. Elizabeth Hospital in Covington.
And in Covington? Okay. Was that a long time ago?
Yes, it was almost 59 years ago. I was born in August of 1933.
How big were you?
8 pounds and something. I don't remember the exact size.
What was your whole name?
Elizabeth Ann Grody. And then when I was older, I took Julia for my confirmation name.
Who did they name you after?
I think my grandma Lakey, they called her Lizzie Lakey, but her real name was Elizabeth. And my grandma Grody's name was Anna Mary. So I think I was named after both of my grandmothers.
When did you walk and talk?
I don't know what age.
Any other things about when you were a baby? Or when you were born?
Well, I was the first child. And there's a little bit of resentment from my younger siblings because they had a lot of pictures of me with jewelry. I had a lot of gold bracelets and baby rings.
Did you have a baby
Ain't supposed to
nickname?
be eating.
Not that I know of.
Who did they say you looked like?
I don't know if they ever said who I looked like.
Your mom.
Who were your grandma and grandpa? Your maternal grandfather was who?
His name was John Lakey, but he died as a young man. My mother was just 3 years old when he died.
Where was he born?
I think he was from Indiana originally, and he worked on the railroad, and that's how my grandmother met him.
And your maternal grandmother?
Her name was Elizabeth. I'm not sure of her middle name. Cannon was her maiden name.
Tina, okay.
What they call them?
They called her Lizzie.
And where was she born?
She was born in Covington.
Your paternal grandfather was.
Henry Clement Grody
And where was he born?
in Newport.
And your paternal grandmother?
Was Anna Mary Mashnot. Maschinot.
Your mother was whom? Oh, where was Mary Mashinot? Anna
In
Mary
Newport.
Newport. And your mother was whom?
Anna Marie Lakey.
And where was she born?
She was born in Covington.
And when was she born?
She was born March 11th, 1908.
And your father was?
Raymond Anthony Grody, I'm sorry.
Henry was his confirmation name, was it?
I think it was.
And Raymond Anthony Henry Grody.
Yeah.
Birth, where was he born?
He was born in Newport on January 23rd, 1906.
Were you the youngest?
No, I was the oldest.
And who were your brothers and sisters?
Well, I had 4 sisters, Mary Jo, Janie, Nancy, and Margie. And I had 3 brothers. My oldest brother, they were all younger than me, but he died when he was 5 years old, and Jimmy, and then Raymond came along about 10 months after Johnny died.
And Grandma, did you ever get spankings?
I guess I did, but I can't remember what for. I don't think I got anything it wasn't anything too serious. I never did anything too bad.
Could you roller skate?
Yep. We used to roller skate. We lived on a small little street that was dead end. And so we roller skate in the summertime and warm weather
On Charmaine?
on Charmaine Circle.
And could you ice skate?
No, one time I borrowed ice skates and tried to ice skate and I couldn't, and I never did try again.
And what kind of games did you play?
Well, in the summertime especially, when everybody was off school, we'd play hide and seek every night after supper. But first of all, we'd play baseball. And then when it started getting dark, we'd play hide and seek. But we'd play Red Rover. And I don't remember exactly how to play all these games. We'd chant, Red Rover, I dare you come over.
And then you lock hands?
Yeah, right. Then somebody tried to break through your hands. And then I think we played Prisoner's Base. And we played the hopscotch, jump rope.
Did you have a tooth fairy?
No, they didn't exist when I was a little girl, as far as I know.
What kind of birthday parties did you have?
I remember one time, I don't know how old I was, but I remember being next door on Peggy Brinker's front porch, and I could see in our dining room window, and Mother was fixing little packs of Necco wafers at the places, so we had neighborhood kids come to my party. And then I grew up with this Patsy Wisher, and her birthday was just 3 days ahead of mine. And then there was two other girls in the neighborhood who were a couple years younger, Edna Mae Gabriel and Peggy Brinker. All four of us, the first like 10 or 12 days of August, all four of us had birthdays. So we'd buy each other gifts, like a 10-cent paper doll book or coloring book or something, and we'd always have little celebrations for our birthdays. We had quite a lot of fun in August because there were a lot of birthdays in the neighborhood.
What were your favorite toys?
Oh, I think dolls. I love to have dolls with lots of clothes for them. Baby dolls.
Did you have a bicycle?
Yep. I got a bicycle when I was 8 years old, and I remember it was I was going to get it that Christmas, and my dad had an emergency appendectomy the day before Christmas Eve. And I remember he didn't want to do that. He said, "Oh, I don't want to be in the hospital because Betty's getting her first bicycle, and I want to be there." And my Uncle Leo said, "You better get this taken care of or you might never be back." He said it was very serious, or need for surgery. So it was kind of a bleak Christmas because Daddy was in the hospital. They kept him in the hospital for like 2 weeks. And but then when he was coming home, we found a Christmas tree somewhere. I don't know if Mother even had to pay for it because the tree we had that year shed real badly. And so here we are a week or two into the new year, and we're putting up a Christmas tree and decorating because when Daddy came home we wanted to still have a tree up, you know. So we wanted to have the tree up.
Did you did you have a television?
I was probably a senior in high school when we first got our television.
And radio?
Oh yeah, radio was the fun. That was, you know, when we were kids, we'd hear certain programs and you'd identify with them. Like on Sunday evening after supper, there'd be Blondie and Jack Benny and George Burns and Gracie Allen, and some of those radio shows would be so suspenseful. I'd be drying dishes and I'd be afraid to make a move because I'd be listening so closely. They'd have you held in such suspense you'd almost crawl inside the radio.
Did you have your own pet?
When I was probably 7 or 8 years old, Daddy came home with a black Cocker Spaniel who we named Inky. And he was a really pretty dog. I think he was like a pedigree or something. But he got like something wrong with his ears or something, and we gave him to my Aunt Ruth. And then after that we had a couple dogs. One was Wiggy, and I forget the name. There were a couple more dogs after that.
Did the boys tease you?
I guess they did. I remember coming in crying one time and told Mother that this boy was teasing me or hit me or something, and she told me that meant he liked me. That's how she justified it. She said, that means they like you at this age if they treat you like that. So.
Did you ever run away or hide?
No.
Who was your best friend?
Well, when I was a little kid, I guess Patsy Wisher was, because she and I were just 3 days apart. We went all through grade school together, but then she went to a different high school. And my best friend in high school was Shirley Burling.
Did you have any secrets?
Yeah, let me think. I can't think of any. I'm sure I had secrets, but I can't think of any.
Were there trains and cars?
There were trains and cars, but we didn't live near the trains. We always had a car. In fact, the way Mother got our first car is she entered a contest when I was a baby for Penetro nose drops. And Daddy kept after, he worked at a drugstore, and he kept after to write, you had to write in 25 words or less how good Penetro nose drops were. And so, kind of begrudgingly, she wrote the little thing, you know, how when her baby was sick, her husband was a pharmacist and he brought home Penetro nose drops, which was nothing if it was true. and how they helped clear up my cold. And here she won a Ford car. She won the contest.
Hit it?
Mother. And in fact, there's still the letter informing her that she won up in her things.
Thanks to you having a cold.
Yeah, and she said I had never had a cold till after she won the car. She just made up this testimonial, and so it was all a fraud.
I'm gonna write to the Penetro
Right.
people.
I wonder if
correct
they even
that.
still make
They
them.
want their Ford back.
Yeah.
Did you have ice cream?
Yeah, we had ice cream. We had an ice cream man that came around when we were kids, and in order to keep peace in the neighborhood, all the neighbors agreed that on Wednesdays and Sundays we were allowed to buy ice cream. We were never allowed to buy it every day, and they were really special days because most of the time we could get a fudge sickle or a creamsicle or something for a nickel, but every now and then we'd get a dime and we'd get a drumstick. So that was really, yeah.
What could you buy for a penny?
Well, there was a little candy store real close to school where I went, and we called it Boonies. And you could get all kinds of candy for a penny.
How about 5 cents? A nickel?
You could get real big candy bars. I remember one time buying a Milky Way for a nickel, and I couldn't eat it all. I wasn't used to eating that rich stuff, and it was so big I couldn't even finish it.
Did you go swimming?
Once in a while, we didn't swim a lot because we were so far from the pool, but we'd take a bus in upper grade school. We'd take a bus to Rosedale. We'd have to transfer buses. We'd go to Rosedale Pool several times a year.
And who would you go with?
Oh, our neighborhood friends. My sister Mary Jo and neighborhood kids.
Did you ever have stitches or broken bones?
Never.
The house where you grew up. What kind of house did you grow up in?
It was yellow or buff brick. It was at 3 Charmaine Circle. And I remember the day we moved there. And Mother and Dad rented a house in Park Hills on Amsterdam Road. And I remember the day we moved, I was probably about 3. And I remember them calling a cab and getting in a cab to go to Aunt Ruth's house while they moved. And then we moved out to this house in Fort Mitchell. And it had just 2 bedrooms, but one was a real big long bedroom like a master bedroom, so they divided it in half. So that gave Mary Jo and I a room, and Grandma Lakey lived with us, I think, at first when we moved out there. But she didn't like living so far out from Pike and Madison.
Did you have a secret hiding place in your house?
Our house.
Or anywhere?
I don't remember any secret hiding places. We'd like to play in the woods. That was kind of our own little private place. We'd go down in the woods and play amongst the trees and that.
Did you have a fireplace to keep you warm?
We had like gas logs in the fireplace, and once in a great while they'd light them, but Mother and Dad always were kind of scared of them, I think.
Did you have your own bedroom?
Mary Jo and I shared a bedroom.
What about your own bathroom?
No.
How did you keep your soda cold?
We had a refrigerator. Mother and Dad, when they got married, they were kind of a new item, but they had a Westinghouse refrigerator that stood about 10 inches off the floor, 8 or 9 inches off the floor, had big legs on it. And,
Did you have, what kind of lights did you have?
we had electric lights.
Did you have jobs to do around the house?
Oh, yes. Mary Jo and I, each week we would alternate. 1 week I'd clean the upstairs, and the next week I'd clean the downstairs, and she'd do just the opposite. But we'd keep sneaking away on Saturdays. Daddy would be the one in charge, and we'd keep sneaking away out of the house. And he'd have to keep calling us back in to finish our jobs.
How did you
Didn't
keep
hear that day.
How did you keep cool in the summer?
Fans. We had no air conditioning, but when I guess I was 8, 9 years old, Daddy installed a great big fan. It looked like an airplane propeller to me in the basement, and they could turn that on and it would like draw air through the house and cool the house fairly nicely.
Did you have an attic?
No, we didn't have an attic.
A basement?
Yep, we had a basement.
Who lived with you?
My mother and dad, and my sister Mary Jo, and my brother Johnny, and then Jimmy and Raymond, and Janie, Nancy, and Margie. Grandma Lakey lived with us kind of off and on through the years. My mother's mother.
Did firemen or police ever come to your house?
No.
Grandma, do you remember your first Christmas?
I don't remember my first Christmas, but I remember Christmas as we got into, early grade school. Grandma Lakey on Christmas Eve would take us down to Covington and take us shopping. And we'd have like $1 or $2 to spend, and I remember getting a powder puff for my mother and a cigar for my dad and something for Grandma Lakey. And she'd have us out for the whole day, and then we'd ride the streetcar home. And in those days, people didn't put up their trees ahead of time. So coming home, we'd notice all the Christmas trees in the window, and she'd have us so excited. And then Daddy would pick us up at the streetcar stop and ride us home, and then he'd usher us through the front door so we couldn't see in the living room. We'd have to eat supper first. And then we'd go in, Santa Claus would have come, and we'd go in the living room and see all our toys.
Did you hang stockings?
No, we didn't hang stockings. We'd hang stockings for St. Nick. We'd put stockings out for St. Nick's feast day on December 6th.
And how did you decorate the tree?
Well, we had regular lights. They were called series lights. And when one would go out, the whole string would go out. So then when the whole string of lights would be out, you'd have to test each socket with a new bulb to find the one that was burned out.
Electrical light.
And then we had ornaments, and Daddy had made a crib, and we had a crib we set up under the tree.
Did you bake cookies and make candy?
No, we never did much of that. For Christmas.
Did Santa give you what you asked for?
Yeah, most of the time. I remember one year I was looking for a Didey doll, trunk, and clothes.
Didey doll?
A Didey doll is a doll that would wet, like a Betsy Wetsy doll.
How do you spell Didey?
D-Y-D-E-E. It was short for diaper.
Oh. Did you have Didey doll and what?
Trunk and clothes.
Oh.
That was what I asked for. That was all that I said.
Did you have snow or sled riding?
Oh yeah, we had wonderful sled riding hills because where we lived, there were several big long hills we could go down. It was really great going down, but awful pulling the sled back up.
And did you go skating? You didn't go skating.
No, I never went ice skating.
Let's see. Where did you go to school, Grandma?
Well, I went to Blessed Sacrament in the first grade. I didn't go to kindergarten. Well, Blessed Sacrament for all 8 grades of school. And then I went to Notre Dame for high school. Notre Dame Academy.
Okay. And we'll finish school days here, and then we'll take a break. Okay. We'll cut it off tonight. Did you like school?
Yeah, I liked school.
How did you go to school? How did you get to school?
You know, that's something probably none of you ever knew, but when we were kids and lived on Charmaine, Mr. Zimmer, Ed Zimmer, owned the DeSoto, well, he owned a Plymouth DeSoto place. And he'd go to work at that time, and we started from the first grade on. He had kids in school, and Mary Jo and I and Patsy Wisher, I think, and the Zimmer boys would just go down and get in his car and sit there and wait for him to come out, and he'd ride us to school every morning, all through my 8 grades of school. And I remember one time he was a car dealer, so one time he had a Jeep, and I thought that was wonderful. I was wishing he kept that Jeep, because that was really fun driving to school in a Jeep.
What classes did you like?
I liked reading and spelling. Spelling was probably my best subject. And I wasn't real fond of math, but you know, readings.
So you hated math.
Yeah.
Were your report cards good?
Well, they were good, but they were never good enough for my mother and dad. And I look back at them, I got mostly A's and a couple B's. They always would keep after me that I could have made A pluses. So, anyway.
Did you go out for sports?
No, I
Okay.
didn't take sports too seriously.
Were you a football fan?
No, don't know much about football.
Were you given lots of homework?
Oh, I guess I thought it was. I don't guess it was so much, but I thought it was a lot.
Did you ever play hooky?
No, one time in my junior or senior year of high school, we had been off for a couple snow days. And so my friend Shirley had spent the night with us, and we just decided to tell Mother that the day we might have been off one day, and the next day we were supposed to go to school, and we just let Mother believe that we were off school again because it was still pretty much snow on the ground. So we were found out. They called from school and said we had school. So
Oh, so you went?
we didn't go. I guess it was an unexcused absence.
Oh. Okay, well that's
In
it
the
for school day. We'll continue
Okay.
again in bits and pieces.
Where's Matt?
Okay, this is a continuation of Grandpa's story. You hear the grandfather clock playing in the background. Okay, we're at vacations and trips.
Vacations and trips.
Yeah. And did you ever go on a train trip?
Oh, very definitely. I think I mentioned earlier that when I was a kid, Dad worked for the railroad, and we would get passes to ride the railroad for nothing. So we went to like Columbus, Ohio, Natural Bridge, Kentucky, High Bridge, Kentucky. We went to up to Fort Ord, or not Fort Ord, but
Vancouver?
the proving grounds up in to see Pinky when he was in the Army, and then when Walt was in the Army, he was at Fort Eustis, Virginia. So and then when we were at Fort Eustis, we also visited Williamsburg, and then I myself was drafted into the Army, so I got to take quite a few train trips. First of all, we traveled to Camp Atterbury, Indiana, and then from Camp Atterbury, I came back to Kentucky, back to Fort Knox, where I took my basic training. And then after my basic training, we rode a train to Fort Ord, California, which was a 5-day trip on a train, and not such a pleasant circumstances. So after several weeks at Fort Ord, we took another train to Portland, Oregon, where we were at I can't think of the name of the camp now, but it was
In Portland, Oregon?
yeah, it's right across. It was in Washington, Vancouver, Washington, but I think it's called Vancouver Barracks. I think. And from there, then I went overseas, but that's another story.
Okay. Well, what was the longest trip you ever took? that?
By train or?
Just any trip.
Well, the longest trip I ever took was when I shipped out from Vancouver, Washington to Saipan, which took 28 days by boat. And we were on an APA boat, and very miserable conditions, but we lived through it, so I guess I was sick for all 28 days going overseas, and all 18 days coming back, so not such a very pleasant trip.
Did you used to go to the fair or carnival?
I used to love the circus, and my brother Walt and my dad would go to the circus. And in fact, sometime we would go up to the train station when the circus would arrive in town, and we would see them unload the animals, and which was really enlightening experience.
Well, what was your favorite vacation?
My favorite vacation was, well, there was several vacations that we took to Europe. We went to Italy one year, which was very wonderful vacation. But I think when we went to Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Mom and I, with the choir, was more enjoyable. In my own mind, I think Austria and Switzerland and Germany are really beautiful countries, and that was very enjoyable, and really enjoyed it.
Okay. Did you ever go to Disneyland or Six Flags?
Yes, we went to Disneyland in California, and it was very nice.
Okay. How old were you before you could date?
Well, actually,
And who was your first date to?
I never went out with many girls, but my first date, her name was
Don't look at me.
let's see.
Made a big impression on you.
Yeah, right. Can't think of her first name. What's Millie's sister's name?
Rosalie?
Rosalie Heidemann. Yeah, I took her to the prom at Newport Catholic when I was a junior in high school.
Okay. When did you get your first knife, slingshot, or gun?
Really, my first knife, I remember when we were kids, I don't know how old we were, probably 10 years old. When you would buy a pair of boots, they used to have a little knife in a little pocket on the boots. And that was
Oh.
one of the first knives that I officially owned. And what was the other question?
Slingshot or
Slingshot.
gun?
Oh, I don't know about the slingshot. I never did ever have too much experience with slingshots, but the first gun that I actually owned myself was when I came out of the Army, which was when I was about 21 years old, and that was a 20 gauge single shotgun.
Single what?
A single shot.
Single shot. Okay. What's the latest you ever stayed up?
Oh, I stayed up all night already, so I guess.
When?
Well, when I was in the Army one time, they took us on a 36-hour hike, and we would hike for 55 minutes, and we'd take a 5-minute break every hour. So we hiked for a solid 36 hours.
This is a touching one. Who was your favorite girlfriend?
My
Touchy.
favorite.
Well,
How about
he
putting
just
it
better give
mildly?
the right answer, huh?
Catherine Grayson.
Who's she? Is she a movie star?
She was a showboat.
Well, who really?
Well, my wife Betty,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. This is all about growing pains, by the way. Did you ever have growing pains?
Not that I recall. I've had several sicknesses that I don't think you would call them growing pains. I'm not, to my knowledge, I never ever
Okay.
had growing pains.
Who taught you to drive, and how old were you?
I was 16, and the fellow that taught me to drive lived next door to us. His name was Carl Fitzer, and I learned on my brother's car, Walt. I was going to drive for my sister's wedding, Edith, and so my brother Walt was in the Army, so he gave me permission to drive his car, so I drove the car in the wedding, and that's how it all came about, me getting a driver's license.
And what was your first car?
My first car was a 41 Chevrolet business coupe.
Bet it was fancy. Brand new?
No, it was pretty old, really, because of the fact when I came out of the Army, automobiles was hard to come by. You had to put your name on a list if you were buying a new car, and so this was a used car. So,
Okay. Did you ever build a tree house?
well, we never did build a tree house, but we did build a house or a little shack in our backyard on 12th Street in Newport.
And a swing? Did you ever build a swing?
Oh yeah, we had several swings that we had built
In the backyard?
in the backyard.
What was your nickname? Did you have one? When you got older, I mean. Yeah.
When I got older,
Well, I mean, like Joe Bump when you were a baby.
Well-
But, you know.
when I got older, well, the Shrap, I guess, was
Oh, well, yeah.
the name that the kids all wound up giving it the name of Shrap.
Did you used to catch lightning bugs? And what other kind of things did you collect?
Yes, we collected lightning bugs when we was kids and put them in jars, and I guess I never was a collector of bugs or anything like that. I'd say lightning bugs was about it.
Mm-hmm. How did you meet Grandma? This is all about when I was courting Grandma.
Well, it all came when I belonged to this organization called the Catholic Theater Guild, and she was also a member, and so as we worked on these plays and everything else, well, I mean, we got to know, the whole everybody in the organization very well, and I took a liking to her, and so
Well, how old were you?
when I started taking out Grandma,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I imagine I was approximately 25, I guess.
Okay.
25 years old.
And did you have any rivals?
I don't know if I did. You'd have to ask Grandma that question.
You didn't know about 'em.
Oh, okay. Do you want to inquire about it or not? Where did you go on your first date? And did you like her right away?
As well as I can remember, I would say it was to a dance. So,
Oh, that wasn't a date. We started going together after we went
yeah,
to that dance together.
we went to we were at a dance. It was a theater guild dance, wasn't it? It was just a dance in
Get acquainted.
a get acquainted dance in the theater guild. So that was it.
Okay. And did you like her right away?
Yes, yeah.
Did she write you love letters?
No.
And did you ever get mad at Grandma while you were dating?
I may have got upset a few times, but I never did really get mad.
Mm-hmm. What did your folks think of Grandma?
Oh, they liked her right off. So everybody likes Grandma.
Aww. Where and when did you ask her to marry you?
I know we were in a car, and the exact location, I don't know, was it coming out of a restaurant when we came out of where was it at?
With Ann's place or someplace, or that place is it down on Buttermilk or something that we went for
Someplace, yeah.
Was it Easter?
Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday, but I don't know the exact location. We were sitting in the parking lot, I think, wasn't
We
it?
were moving.
Or were we moving in the car?
Really? So what, he passed the ring over to you?
Oh,
while
he
he's-
didn't give me the ring.
Oh, he just said, oh, I see.
Icy cola?
When did you get married?
Well, we got married in 1953, August the 29th, the feast day of the beheading of St. John.
Oh!
You take that down.
Okay. What was your wedding like?
Hot. It was the heat. In fact, to this day, it is the hottest August the 29th on record. So
Wow.
it was pretty warm.
That's amazing. And who was in your wedding?
Golly Moses. We had a pretty good sized wedding party, and
Who were the guys? Do you remember
the guys was Heinzman, Dick Wiedemann, John Arnold, who else?
Well, your brothers. Any of your
No,
brothers?
none of my
No?
brothers were.
He didn't
was another time. So soft.
Okay.
It seemed to me there was somebody else.
What's Heinzman's
We
first
had
name?
the Bob, and Dick Wiedemann and, John Arnold and, Dot and Mary Jo and, I have to look at a picture for that.
Mm-hmm. And where did you go on your honeymoon?
We went on our honeymoon down to the Smokies.
Retracing our steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
In Tennessee, Tennessee.
right, and North Carolina. We took the long route down. We went up through West Virginia and I don't know if they call out the Trail of the Lonesome Pine or something that we
I
took.
think that's right.
Trail of the Lonesome Pine.
Yeah.
Neat. And you stayed in like a cabin or something?
Well, we stayed in motels and
Oh, I see. Several different
several
places.
places, yeah. And cabins and down there in the Smokies, there was a stream in the back of the cottage.
It was
a cottage. Well, in
right
fact,
on the main
the
road.
first night down there, we couldn't find a cottage, so this woman came up and asked us if we were hunting for a place to stay, and we said yes. So she said, well, I have a room for rent at her house. So that's where we stayed the first night.
Really? I'll be darned. And where was your first home?
Well, we rented an apartment above Columbia Federal Savings and Loan at Pike and Lee Street in Covington. And from there, we bought a house out on Swan Circle out in Ellesmere. No, I don't know, the address was 332. Originally it was 31, I think, and then they changed it to
really?
332.
Oh.
So, and then we bought this house here at 1609 St. Anthony, Fort Wright.
Where were your babies born?
All of the babies was born in St. E's, St. Elizabeth's Hospital.
Okay. It says who were they named after, but we'll just not, that would be rather lengthy. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well,
This is
I'll
the
tell
section.
you, up to this point now, I haven't figured out what I want to be yet. I'm still working on that.
You still
At
haven't grown up.
one time I wanted to be an actor, and another time I wanted to be a pilot, and I wound up as a tool and die maker. So, that's,
Okay. Well, this is working 9 to 5 section. And did you work after school?
yes.
Where?
When I was probably in my freshman and sophomore class, I sold newspapers at Hyde Park Clothers over in Newport. And also on Sunday afternoon, I would work at the Elks Hall down in Newport. They would have 100 games of bingo, and we would go with a bucket of soft drinks and beer from floor to floor selling soft drinks and beer.
That's neat. And what was your first job? Well,
My first
real
job
job, like you.
in a factory was I worked in the at Wadsworth Watch Case Company in the stock room as a stock clerk.
Hi, Tone.
Hi.
As a stock clerk.
Right.
And how much did you get paid when
Uh,
you first started?
well, I think it was around 40 cents an hour.
Did you have to work at night or on weekends?
Yes, when in my junior year in high school, I went to work. I worked at Wadsworth from 5 o'clock at night until 9 at night.
Oh, okay.
And then in my senior year of high school, I worked from like 7 in the morning till 5:30 at night, and then I went to high school 5 days a week over at East Night High School in Cincinnati.
Okay. How many different places did you work? Did you ever work on a farm?
Nope.
A lot of different places, or
Yes, I imagine.
Wadsworth?
I worked at Wadsworth Watch Case Company, and then I worked at Randall Company over in Cincinnati. I worked at, I went into the Army, and when I came home from the Army, I went back to Wadsworth Watch Case Company, and I served an apprenticeship there as a tool and die maker. And I worked at Wadsworth for 12 years. And then Wadsworth went out of business. And from there, I think I went to Randall Corporation over on Spring Grove Avenue in Cincinnati. And from there, I went to Spady's in Covington. And from there, I went to Bartis Corporation.
Okay.
And I worked at Bartis Corporation for 12 years.
Man, longevity, huh?
And from Bartis Corporation, I went to little place that was named what?
Space.
No, the one out on the industrial park.
Husky
Husky Burnby.
Yeah, I remember that. Was that the night shift that you worked?
Yeah. And then I worked at General Electric for 6 years.
And then
And from General Electric,
to Bartis.
I went back to well, we had a drugstore. And also I went back to Bartis Corporation.
And then
And from there, I went to
Brad's Wild.
Gratz Welding, where I retired.
And did you get promotions?
Well, for 2 years at Bartis Corporation, I was the foreman of the tool room.
Okay. And at Kratz, wasn't that a promotion when you got on the computer?
No, not really. I mean, it was just, wasn't necessarily a promotion, but it was, well.
Kind of a better position.
Yeah.
Did you receive any special awards, or were you ever elected to an office?
Well, when I was in the Theater Guild, I was vice president of the organization, and also acted as social chairman,
Social director or something?
chairman.
Chairman. Did you ever have your own stereo and tapes?
Now, since we're married, we have our own stereo. Yes.
What a question. This is about the music in your life. What were your favorite songs and singers?
Oh, Catherine Grayson was my favorite singer.
Oh, you mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, and favorite music was all kind of music from musical comedies.
Musical comedies.
Right.
And did you have to take music lessons?
I did take music lessons, but
What'd you take?
singing.
I didn't know that. Okay. Do certain songs bring back memories?
Oh, definitely.
Do you remember your first dance and who with?
Well, I guess that the school prom was the first.
School prom. With Rosalie fighting?
Yeah.
Did Grandma sing or dance?
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd she sing and dance at?
At the Theater Guild.
These are a few of my favorite things. Your favorite color?
My favorite color, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no real favorite color, but
I thought so too.
it definitely.
Mom says,
it
Grandma
defi-
says green.
It definitely is not green.
Oh, it's not green?
Well, I really changed the smiling.
I'll just put not green. Book? Your favorite book?
My favorite book. I don't know. I never have read that extensively that I could.
What about Thomas Merton? Or?
Seven-Story Mountain, that would be a good one.
Seven-Story Mountain. You read a lot. Your favorite movie?
My Fair Lady.
Your favorite actress? Catherine Grayson?
Right.
Is she still alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, a little jealousy over there, Mom?
No, I am too.
They'd make a lovely couple, huh? Your favorite song?
My favorite song.
He's only mentioned her 3 times. He's mentioned her more than he's mentioned you.
My favorite song, okay, we'll say Villa.
How do
From
you
the
spell
Merriweather.
that?
Villa, isn't it?
Or else V-I-L-I-A. I don't know.
Oh,
It's V-I-L-I-A.
From the Merry Widow.
right.
And what was your favorite radio program?
My favorite radio program. Oh, that would be hard to say. You'd have to flip a coin.
2 of them.
2 of them.
You got 2 of them?
I'll tell you the favorite one, the Firestone Hour.
Firestone Hour? Okay. TV program, favorite.
Favorite TV program is, I guess 60 Minutes, I guess.
Okay. Favorite ice cream?
Favorite ice cream, I guess, would be chocolate.
Favorite jelly?
Jelly? Grape, I guess.
What a question. Your favorite soup?
My favorite soup? It'd be homemade noodle soup.
Homemade favorite sandwich?
Ham and Swiss.
Favorite toy?
My favorite toy was bicycle.
Favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby?
Oh, please.
Golf.
Favorite spectator sport?
Favorite spectator sport? I would say that I guess golf.
Vacation place. Your favorite vacation place?
My favorite vacation place is the world.
I love it. Your favorite kind of cookie?
The favorite kind of cookie? Fig bars.
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant would be where? That'd be a hard one
There's, where all do you all eat?
to.
Coach and Four.
We'll say Montgomery Boathouse.
Okay. Never heard of it. Favorite city?
Favorite city?
Mm-hmm.
Lucerne, Switzerland.
Favorite actor?
Favorite actor? Golly Moses. We'll say John Wayne.
Favorite game?
Favorite game?
Mm-hmm.
Golf.
Favorite bird?
I'd say favorite bird would be Kentucky Cardinal.
Favorite flower?
Favorite flower, roses, I guess.
Pet? Your favorite pet?
My favorite pet. I guess a dog.
Favorite candy?
Favorite candy? Caramels.
Favorite month?
May.
I wonder why. Favorite season?
Favorite season? Spring.
Favorite tree?
Oak tree, I guess. Or no, Engelman spruce.
Oh man, really?
We almost blew that one, didn't we?
Favorite magazine?
Consumers Report.
Favorite cartoon?
Katzenjammer Kids.
Favorite automobile?
Don't tell any of these characters, but it's a Toyota Camry.
Seriously? Okay. I mean, that's a good one. I thought you'd say like a Ferrari or something. Favorite vegetable?
Favorite vegetable? Tomatoes. Are they vegetables?
Yeah. Actually, they're fruits, but most people refer to them as vegetable. Favorite time of day?
11:30 p.m.
Bedtime? Favorite dinner?
Favorite dinner is pork roast with onion gravy with homemade noodles. And mashed potatoes.
Noodles and mashed potatoes?
Sure.
Carbohydrate City.
Little kraut.
Really? Yeah. Okay, what were some of the funny family stories?
Funny,
Well, just
funny
one.
family stories.
Let's see.
Golly Moses, there's been so many of them that I can't even think of one.
Let's see.
That would be a tough one. You'd have to think about that.
Okay,
for a
why don't you
while.
think about that, and you can tack that on the end of this if you want. What?
Funny family story.
About you garden.
No, that won't be that.
It's not that funny. That's sad.
There's been a lot of happy stories, but
Right.
funny family stories it would be hard to.
We'll say a happy story. What's a good happy story?
A good happy story. One of the things that I remember, like when I came home from overseas, and I was coming home on a train, and when we pulled into Union Terminal over in Cincinnati, the train was moving, and I saw my dad waiting on the platform for me, and that was really really
Yeah,
happy. And I remember walking when I did get home. I walked in the yard, and Mom was there at the door, and so that was a real happy time. And when all of our kids was born was always a happy time, and when they got married, and anything that was a happy time for them was a happy time for us. And another happy thing that all of our children the whole family gets along beautiful together. There's very, very little argument, and nobody is trying to outdo the other guy, and they're all for one and one for all, and I think that's the most beautiful thing that could happen to a family, when you have such unanimity that and love that so that is one big happy time whenever they all get together, and just like on this past occasion when like when Bill and Laura got married, and Bernie and Ellen and all of them getting married, it's always a really happy time when the whole family get together. So that's about it.
Great. Gosh, I don't want to ask this one. Which home did you like the best of your homes that you've lived in?
Where we live now, I mean, I think is the best. Very fortunate to have been.
Have you ever had any family reunions?
Yes.
Where are some of your relatives living now?
Well, we got one girl, I think her name, what is her name? Julie, I think she lives in New Orleans, and we have a son that lives in Jellicoe, and we have two of them that live in West Covington, and one at Big Bone, and God knows where the rest of them live.
Okay. And how many different cars have you had, and which one did you like the best? Oh, way to end it. Okay.
The car that I like the best is the one that I have today. That's a 1988 Toyota Camry.
And are there any more memories that you would like to share?
Well, if you got about 12 more hours, I could take and start telling you about all of the memories. And one of these fine days, I'm going to take and sit in front of a camera just like this, and I'm going to take and start relating some of the memories. But as of now, it is 15 minutes past my bedtime, and I am not going to lose any more sleep over this project. But I appreciate Julie going to all the bother in getting this information, because I think that maybe someday you'll enjoy finding out some of the background. And I think this is a great way of doing it. So, and with that statement, I bid you good night.
Do your thing.
Huh?
Do your thing, go. And walk out on camera.
Do-
You can come back, but just do that on camera.
So, till next week, good night.
A bad reflection in your glasses.
That's a daggone bass on that thing. That is the stupidest bass.
Just went straight. Okay, we're going to go on to Grandma, Mama. And we are on vacations with Grandma, which is about how far we got with Shrap, too, last time. So this is about all of Grandma's vacations and trips. Where did you go on vacations, Grandma? I thought that was a real phony smile, but I was going, oh well, you know, that ham in the family.
The first vacation I ever went on,
Yeah, goofball.
was well, it was just a weekend. I went away with, well, I went to camp when I was in the like the summer going into the 8th grade and the summer going into my freshman year or sophomore year. I went to camp a couple summers, and it was at Marydale, and I guess I was gone 5 or 6 days. And that was the first time I was ever away from, you know, really, because Mother and Dad, we never went on vacations with Mother and Dad. And then I was out of high school, and Mary Jo and Donna Jane Wendell and Rosa Rosentnacker and I went down to Lexington and stayed at some old hotel. I think it was called the Phoenix. We were there for like 3 or 4 days weekend. Probably was on like Memorial Day weekend. And we had fun. And then the other a real vacation I went on was on my honeymoon. We went to the Smokies and North Carolina. And so that was a nice vacation.
Sounds good. Were you ever on a train trip?
When I think it was when I was expecting Bernie, I was pregnant with Bernie, we took a train trip from here to Cincinnati to Columbus. And we took John and Joe with us. They were real little. And we left Andy, I guess, with Mother. And we took it like a round trip, just a one-day trip up to Columbus.
What was the longest trip you ever took?
The longest trip I ever took was, well, probably the trips we've taken to Europe. They usually are around 2 weeks.
Okay. Did you used to go to the fair or the carnival?
No. I remember at Blessed Sacrament only one time they had a festival, a church festival. They didn't have them every year.
Oh.
And I never went to food festivals.
What was your favorite vacation?
Probably the European
Tell me about
vacations we took.
where you went.
The first one we went in 1986. We went to Rome. That's the first time I'd ever been overseas. And it was like a dream vacation. We went, we landed in, our plane took us to Milan when we went over. And to land in a foreign country and figured we were the only ones that spoke English, all the airport out. In other words, it was really a strange feeling. And we saw men. It was during the time of some unrest, and we saw guards standing with big machine guns all around the airport. It was kind of a strange feeling. And then we went to I think it was probably one of the oldest malls or shopping centers in civilized world, and we went there first, and then went on to Rome, and we had an audience with the Pope, and we sang in Assisi. We sang at the tomb of St. Francis, and he died in like the year 1226. And that was a very moving thing to see. Then they have his little chapel that he built in the woods, and his followers they would worship there, and they have that preserved inside a great big church, and it's a little small chapel, and it was real rustic and real primitive. And then the little town of Assisi was just so beautiful. And then we went to Florence, Italy, which is just a big city, but that was also very interesting. Sang at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. It was just a wonderful trip. And then we went, a few years later, we went to Germany and Austria and Switzerland. And we had a wonderful time there. Matt went with us. And we stayed in Munich. We landed in Munich on a Friday, and Saturday night we were singing at St. Michael's Church, and Bill had gone over the week ahead of us, and I had given him our itinerary, and here he showed up at Mass that night. We were singing a little concert after Mass, and there was Bill standing in church.
And what city was that in?
Munich.
Munich.
And so he spent the night with us, ate supper with us, and then he left. Then we went on several different cities, and we went to Austria and Switzerland. It was a wonderful trip.
Did you ever go to Disneyland or Six Flags?
We went to Disneyland in California. And to tell you the truth, I don't care much for amusement parks, but I found it to be very interesting just to walk around and see it. It's quite a park.
How old were you before you could date, and who was your first date?
This will make you gag. My first date was Bobby Brinker, and he lived next door to me. He was the boy next door.
Oh, no. Why would that make me gag?
Well, I
It's
think it's so
wholesome
wholesome
and
and
Western.
But the thing is,
All American.
I wasn't
Yeah.
his first date.
Oh,
He
well,
called
that
me.
makes me
He
gag.
called me a while before that. He was a senior at Latin school. They were having a lot of parties in that for their senior year, and he called me and got the name or number of my girlfriend, Nancy Schran, and took her to something, and then it kind of got started that way. And those boys all would ask this group of friends of mine, and they'd all kind of ask a different girl each party.
So
That
where'd
was-
you go?
Oh, we went to the Latin school. It was their prom. It wasn't a formal affair or anything, but it was kind of their prom. And that's where it was like a dance. And they made corsages out of like little paper doilies and jelly beans and little fancy little corsages they gave us. I guess the mothers made them. They tried to make it a real nice affair, but it was in the Latin school building. It was nice.
Oh, yeah, it was nice, yeah. What's the latest you ever stayed up?
Till the wee hours of the morning, I suppose. Didn't pay much attention to the time.
Okay. That's a weird question, isn't it?
Has labor ever kept you up later than you are?
Quite
Oh,
often.
during labor, possibly?
Maybe.
Yeah. What were your slumber parties? Did you ever have slumber parties? Or go to slumber parties?
I think I spent the night with a friend,
Yeah,
but there was never
slumber
any
parties.
group of friends. No, they weren't what we would call slumber parties.
Okay. And who was your favorite boyfriend?
Let me think.
Joe Engelman.
And what did you and your best friend used to do?
Well, during high school, I guess my best friend was Shirley Burling. And we were friends. We became friends in our freshman year. And were real close friends all through 4 years of high school. And
Hey, Matt.
we'd go out